What giants like Honda couldn't do, cult names like Java and GSD couldn't do, Harley-Davidson and Triumph motorcycles are here to do exactly that, to challenge Royal Enfield's absolute dominion in the market. We have already seen what Harley-Davidson has done with the X440. The pricing, the product, they all seem promising and potent. And now, today we are here to see what Triumph Motorcycles is bringing to this gunfight. And by the looks of it, they are bringing small yet very lethal guns. This is Nan Pandey, you're watching BBC Top Gear Mag India, and here's everything that you need to know about the Speed 400 and the Scrambler 440X. Now, starting with the first things first, the Speed 400 has been priced at just 2.33 lakh, but that is just for the first 10,000 customers. So if you want to avail the Speed 400 at that particular price point, I'll suggest that you rush to your nearest Triumph showroom and get done with your booking. Now, coming to the Scrambler 400X, that will be available in the month of October, and the prices haven't been announced either. Now, coming to the Speed 400, the overall design philosophy of the Speed 400 is largely inspired by the Speed Twin 900 and the Speed Twin 1200. So we get a round LED headlamp up front and Triumph's signature teardrop shaped fuel tank with knee recesses right here and Triumph badging on the fuel tank as well. Now let's jump on to the front profile of the motorcycle. Now, seeing the build quality has made me super happy because at 2.33 lakh you are getting a global product at this particular price point. People are enjoying the motorcycle a little too much. Now coming back to the motorcycle, the Speed 400, it gets a round LED headlamp with a neat Triumph badging right in the middle of it. You move further down, there's a set of 43mm dual cartridge USD forks. The Speed 400, it makes do with 140mm of suspension travel, while it gets a 17-inch wheel at the front. Now these come shot with Apollo tires. The international spec Speed 400, now that is being shipped with Medzilla tires, but we are getting Apollo tires for the India spec variant. Now, I really like what they have done with the front profile of the motorcycle. So you get very sleek LED indicators, golden finish USD forks, and a very chunky set of rubber as well. You move further back and you get a very basic semi-digital instrument cluster which loses out on Bluetooth connectivity. So the Speed 400, it doesn't get Bluetooth connectivity. If it makes sense to you, well and good. If it doesn't, fuck it. Because these motorcycles are just about the ride. And Triumph's tagline is for the ride, so I guess they're basically focusing just on the ride experience part. So, and for the analog fans out there, it does get an analog tachometer. So it has made me happy. Another design highlights which I really like about the Speed 400 are these bar and mirrors. And like I've mentioned, this motorcycle is gorgeous to look at in person, and the build quality as well as fit and finish, the paint quality, they all seem sublime. Another design highlight which I really like, and in a typical signature Triumph fashion, the engine cover, now that is in a triangular shape with Triumph badging on it. And I really like the chrome finishes on the fins as well. As you move towards the back, we get a single piece saddle on the Speed 400. The Scrambler 400, it makes do with dual piece, the split seat setup, but this looks pretty comfortable to my eyes. Now regarding the ergonomics, the Speed 400, it has a seat height of 790mm. Now the ground clearance figures, we aren't sure of that as of now. So yeah, you sit like you sit on a typical naked roadster. So you get a very wide straight handlebar, and even the foot pegs are not that further behind and not that forward set either. They are a good compromise between being slightly aggressive and being comfortable for your urban road, for your urban runabouts. Now coming to the engine now. Now this is a brand new TR series 398cc single cylinder liquid cooled 4-valve engine. Now before you think that this might be taken off from a Dominar 400 or a KTM Duke, no, that isn't the case. Triumph is claiming that this is a particularly developed from ground up. Now regarding the performance figures, they are pretty respectable. So it puts down 40 PS at 8,000 RPM and 37.5 Newton meters of torque at 6,500 RPM. Now this new engine, it comes mated to a 6-speed gearbox, and it also makes do with a slip and assist clutch. Regarding the performance figures, at this particular price point, I'm really satisfied. Now we haven't experienced how these power figures translate into the real world experience, but we are surely going to do that in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for a first ride review. I might have a lot of things to say about this particular new engine. As you move towards the back, it gets street focused tires at both the ends, because the Speed 400, it is more focused on your urban runabouts, on your weekend highway rides and stuff like that, while the Scrambler, it is more rugged. It is meant for going on slightly off-roading as well. But the Speed 400, it is meant for strictly on-road use. Now another design highlight of the Speed 400 includes this side-stacked chrome finished exhaust. The Scrambler 400, it gets dual stack exhaust, and I like the design of that better, but it suits it well. It suits the proportion of the Speed 400 better. As you move towards the back, it is a very minimalistic unit. Now they could have done something about this grab rail, but they come as a standard fitment on India spec variant. Now these LED indicators complete the look at the back. Now regarding the suspension travel at the back, it gets 130mm of suspension travel at the back. Regarding the braking duties, up front it gets a 300mm disc, and at the back it makes do with 230mm disc brake. Now regarding the electronics, they aren't that much. It does get ride-by-wire and switchable traction control, while the Speed 400 gets dual channel ABS. The Scrambler 400 also gets dual channel ABS, but it is switchable in that particular iteration. Now, another major difference between the Speed 400 and the Scrambler 400X is the seat height. The Speed 400 has a 790mm seat height, but the Scrambler does get around 835mm seat height. Now, this is all, folks. Triumph is claiming that the Speed 400 will start arriving on showroom floor later this month, so it isn't that far. They're almost here, and at this particular price point with this level of fit and finish, I really cannot wait to see how these motorcycles turn out in the real world. Let's jump on to the Scrambler now. While you have already seen the Speed 400 that has been priced at a staggering price of 2.33 lakh, which is a big blow to its rivals. And this right here is the Scrambler 400X. It's more adventurous, more rugged twin. Now the Speed 400, it is an urban motorcycle, a naked roadster if you can. Now the Scrambler, it is a true blue Scrambler as the name suggests. And let me tell you this, it is not just the aesthetic bits that makes the Scrambler 400X a Scrambler, but mechanical differences as well. So we'll get to them right now. Now the aesthetic differences between the Speed 400 and the Scrambler 400X includes a lot of them. So to begin with, you get knuckle guards at the front. The Speed 400 misses out on them. Now we also get to see a headlight protector grille on the round LED headlamp unit. As you move further down, the suspension components are similar, but the suspension travel differentiates a little. So the Speed 400, it makes do with 140mm suspension travel up front, while the Scrambler 400X gets 150mm of suspension travel up front. Now even the tire sizes are a bit different, with the Scrambler making do with a 19-inch front wheel, and the Speed 400, in a true blue naked roadster fashion, it makes do with 17-inch wheels at both the ends. Another major mechanical difference on the Scrambler 400X that we get to see up front is a larger front disc brake. So the Scrambler, it gets a 320mm disc brake up front, while the Speed 400, it gets a 300mm disc brake up front. Now there aren't many differences when you move to the console because it gets this, the same semi-digital instrument cluster unit, but the handlebar positioning, it is slightly more upright even compared to the Speed 400. Now that is a very comfortable stance of the Speed 400, but the Scrambler is meant to go the distance, it's meant to go off-roading too. So as you can very well see, there's very good leverage from the handlebar, so you can just stand on the foot pegs and ride, and I can tell that it is going to be a pretty comfortable affair even if you are standing up and riding on off-road trails. Now, another major difference that the Scrambler has is on the tires as well. While it gets a 19-inch front wheel that I've already told, it also gets dual-purpose tires as opposed to street-bias tires that we see on the Speed 400. Now, we also get to see a handlebar brace on the handlebar. Now, we don't know as of yet whether it is an accessory or is it going to be a standard equipment, but it might come as an accessory, Triumph's official accessory lineup. As we move further back, we get twin split seat setup. The Speed 400, it makes do with a single piece saddle, but the Scrambler, it makes do with two-piece saddle, and even the foot pegs are slightly different. So the Scrambler is meant to go scrambling. And to aid to that, we get claw-type foot pegs to hold the rider's foot pegs in position while you are bashing down the trails. Now, we don't know the exact figures of the ground clearance yet, but it gets powered by the same engine that we have already seen on the Speed 400. It makes do with 40 bhp of power and 37.5 Newton meters of torque. Now, we don't know whether the gearing is different or not, and we'll get to experience when we ride these motorcycles back to back. As we move further back, we get to see these. Now, this is one of my favorite bits of the Scrambler 400's aesthetics, and that is the dual stacked exhaust. I would have really liked if it had gotten the Scrambler style exhaust unit, but even this one, it looks really smashing. It looks like a double barrel gun slapped right on the side of it. and it gets dual purpose tires at the back too. And to be honest, the fit and finish level and the build quality of the Scrambler 400X is nothing to complain about. I'm really impressed with the way it is looking, the stance that this bike has. And regarding the rear suspension travel as well, I forgot to mention that at the rear too, it gets 20mm more suspension travel as compared to the Speed 400. So this right here, it is not just a cosmetic job. It has mechanical differences as well, and we cannot wait to see how this is different from the Speed 400 that we are going to ride in a couple of days. So stay tuned for our first ride review of the Speed 400. Thank you.